transformation in the management industry is what we're talking about. Sibusiso, perhaps for the benefit of our viewers who do not understand the difference between your defined benefit and an undefined benefit and what kind of impact that has on your strategy overall, let's just begin perhaps by just unpacking the differences between those two terms and then get into what you're trying to do in terms of transformation and that how that impacts your mandate to deliver the benefits that are defined to your members.
Okay. The difference between the defined benefit scheme and a defined contribution scheme is that in the defined benefit scheme, the benefits of the members are defined up front. So that means that the pension fund that is managing the funds on behalf of the members must run itself in such a manner that it must understand that these are the liabilities that would unfold at a particular point in time, and the cash flows must be matched to that.
This is more onerous than the undefined benefit.
It is more onerous because the employee in a defined benefit expect certain benefits, whereas in a defined contribution scheme, the risk shifts to the employee because it depends on the performance of those investments in terms of what the employee would be entitled to.
Fantastic. Let's move into the discussion that you had today around transformation of the asset management industry. I read in what you are saying in the statement that has come through that what has been done so far has not been enough. To what extent is it not enough? How much more remains to be done?
Yeah. We actually conducted a study or a survey in late 2010 to understand what transformation had taken place in the industry. And the results were very disappointing that came out. It actually highlighted that a number of the asset managers, although they have got initiatives where they are trying to transform, but these are at a very slow pace. And when we went on further to unpack the engine room, where you've got your portfolio managers, where you've got your investment strategists, where you've got your economists, and these are the people that make the decisions according to which investments the money should be channeled towards. We found that that area is largely untransformed. And this was of huge concern to us, that if we look at it in this day and age, and we're still sitting with an industry that is not transforming or is transforming at a very low pace, we need to do something.
Now, of course, you carry a lot of clout because you oversee 70 billion rand in assets, 74 billion rand in assets. And of that 74 billion rand, 20 billion you say, you just told me now, you manage in-house. The rest you farm it out to the sector. So when you speak, they should jump essentially. From what you have done so far, are you getting a sense that the industry understands the need to change and is beginning to move?
We had a session this morning where we presented our revised policy to say this is the policy. And what was different about this policy from what we had before is that now we've got timelines where we say if you are not compliant, if you are not a level 3 in the BE ratings, we then give you a 12-month window period within which to comply. If you do not do that, then there's going to be penalties, where we are going to impose penalties and say, after 1 year you haven't complied, then here's a penalty.
What are the targets?
We have set out targets where we've said the asset managers must be at least a level 3. And then we went on further to the BE rating. We went on further to unpack that and said, we are targeting skills development, we're targeting top management, we're targeting middle management as well as the boards. We're saying we want transformation in all of those areas. And we've put numbers where we said in a period of time there must be at least 50% black representation in those areas.
Now we know the PIC a few years ago embarked on a similar campaign, and in fact when Brian Molefe was CEO, he went on and embarked on this policy where he was demanding change at company board level, and at shareholder meetings he made his voice heard and through re-election of directors, etc., etc. Is that a strategy that you'd be looking at?
That is certainly part of our strategy. We have signed up with the UNPRI, which is the United Nations Principles around responsible investing, as well as the Code of Responsible Investing in South Africa, where we are active investors. And we are not just sitting as passive investors. So we've taken a keen interest, and we are actually exercising our right to vote to make sure that companies we invest in do transform, and they do take issues of ESG, which is your environmental issues, very, very seriously.
Are there some transgressors that have been very flagrant in terms of listening to you and implementing some of the changes that you require?
In the past, we've had...
I'd like to shame them or name them.
Yeah, we've certainly had excuses in terms of why the pace of transformation is slow. And the biggest challenge that was that there was no stick. Now we've come out and we've said, after 1 year, we will actually take away 10% of our assets on asset managers that do not transform. Yeah. If there is 2 years in consecutive of non-transformation, then we will review the entire mandate. We might even take away our entire assets from you if you don't transform.
Some would argue that given that you are a defined benefit fund, you should be focusing on returns rather than worrying too much about transformation, because transformation... What about if you get transformation and then you don't get the performance?
Those that believe that transformation means substandard performance, they are very much ill-informed. Transformation does not in any way mean substandard performance. So whilst we are driving transformation, but we are very cognizant of our responsibility to make sure that we maintain the returns. So we're looking at these issues concurrently. We're not looking at one at the expense of the other.
It's a dual mandate. Yes. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.